Hello and welcome to Chuckle Game. It's match preview West Ham United against Leicester City at the London Stadium on Saturday 3 p.m, the final game before the World Cup break, and possibly the most enthusiastic I'm going to get during this video. Gonzo, can you kick us off as always, please, with your thoughts on the Foxes?
Yeah, I mean, I think they're doing well now after a really, really bad start. And I think from the outside, if we go back to January transfer window, they were the last team to do any business. It felt like they had players that were dropping like stones. And I don't want to speak ill of the ownership. The owner tragically died in a helicopter accident in this fixture, actually, just after, albeit the reverse fixture at Walker Stadium. I look at it and I don't know. As I say, I don't mean to be disrespectful. I don't know if I think the son runs it now. Maybe he hasn't got the same appetite that the father did. I don't know, but you certainly feel like Leicester is sort of selling off the family silver in that sense. And I just kept on hearing this stat on the radio and on various websites that during the transfer window, Leicester are the only team not to buy anyone. This seemed to be going on for ages. And then just when you think it sort of can't get any worse, they Schmeichel leaves, which was a big player for them. He was a leader. I don't know if there was something else going on behind the scenes. And I think almost everybody expected Tielemans to sort of go in and around transfer deadline day because he has a contractual situation there. So the door slammed shut, and they started the season slowly. And I sort of wasn't surprised, really, not because they didn't still have quality players in there. Clearly they do, and you can see that now. But I can understand how that mood of basically it felt like asset stripping in many respects, how that could sort of infect a club, if you like, and how the fans would be on a downer, the players would be on a downer, and the manager, who, because they've got a good manager there who's won them a trophy, who clearly, can play good football and can finish in a high league position when he's got the backing. You can understand how everybody on a massive downer. So they went on a losing run, which was, to be fair, they got better players than the losing run that they were on. But fair play. I've got to say, fair play to the manager and the players. They've got they've turned the corner basically, and they now look like a really, really good swashbuckling team.
We'll get on to the manager in a second. One thing I hate in the Premier League is this transfer window overlapping the season starting. I absolutely detest it. And Leicester City are the best example this season. A team that has to kick off the season with Fofana wanting to move to Chelsea, waving goodbye to the fans. I think it was away to Arsenal. He's literally just stood there saying cheerio kind of thing. I was like, hang on a minute, we haven't even accepted a bid yet. Tielemans wanting out because of his contract situation. They'd lost Schmeichel, but then there was a domino effect. Leicester needed to sell players before they could bring players in. So they had to start the season without any reinforcements, with a couple of players wanting out or on their way out, but they couldn't replace them until they had left because they needed the money. And Tielemans is, again, a perfect example of this. He's still there. Could you imagine they went out and spent 30, 40 million on a replacement, because that's how much it will cost, and he doesn't end up leaving? It's like, well, hang on a minute, we're now 40 million out of pocket. We've anticipated him to leave. Thankfully, we've held on to him. But now what? We've got his replacement here, kind of thing. And I hate it. I just hate this season in the transfer window overlapping for this reason. And 2 seasons ago, it was Fulham. Fulham were the side that, the season got underway and they didn't have a defence ready, kind of thing. Yeah. By the time Parker finally had a settled team, it was November. And it's a bit like this for Leicester City. It was middle of October before Rodgers had a settled defence, a settled goalkeeper, a team that struggles with injuries. I don't know why they're so horrific with their injury records over the last few seasons. But this season, I thought Leicester would do really well. No European football, get that injury crisis, if you like, under control. And they were always going to bring in 1 or 2 players. They were always going to do it eventually. But like I said, they just had to go through that period of uncertainty, trying to get Fofana to Chelsea and get as much money in as possible. And it's just a horrible situation to be put in, because in those games when Tielemans and Fofana were available, they have to start. They're the 2 of their best players. They have to start. I felt really sorry for them. And Leicester City is a team I've seen more. They were my 19th most watched team in the Premier League behind West Ham this season. I don't know why. They must just be on TV a lot, but I've seen a lot of them. And they weren't even playing badly at the start of the season. They were just unlucky. Danny Ward was horrific at the start of the season. He's playing really well now. But at the start of the season, he was really poor. They were still poor from set pieces. You see them play Tottenham. They played really well against Tottenham. Son comes on and bangs in a hat-trick. And it's one of them, you think, when it rains, it pours sometimes. And Rodgers must have been thinking, hang on, my team's playing well. And in that interview from Maddison after that game, I still remember it. Maddison died on the hill of his manager there, and he basically said, it's not the manager's fault. This is not on the manager. This is not on Brendan Rodgers, because there was a lot of pressure on Rodgers at this point. A lot of talk, will he get sacked? Should he get sacked? And he basically said, no, we've worked our nuts off on training, been working ridiculously hard on set pieces, yet we still concede from a set piece from Eric Dyer. Son comes on, scores 2 magnificent goals. What are you meant to do about that? He said, we played well. Just a world-class player to score 2 world-class goals. And he really stood up for his manager. And I quite liked that, actually. I thought, there you go. There's a player who's not towing the line of, we need to do a bit better. That's it. Move on, can we? He stuck up for his manager then, actually. He's not even the captain. I thought it was a really inspiring interview, actually. And since then, they've gone on to do quite well. I think we're seeing the true Leicester. He's had to, we speak of transition a lot at West Ham. Well, he's doing it at Leicester with Vardy, getting Vardy out of that team and Daka into the team. And it probably should have been done a bit more last season, but now he's really starting to go through that evolution up front, moving James Maddison to not a right winger, but over to the right-hand side of the pitch rather than central. He's changed Maddison's role a little bit. So Rodgers has been tweaking quite a lot at Leicester in the last year, and it's paying off. So speaking of Rodgers, Gonzo, I mean, he was favourite for the chop for quite a few weeks at the start of the season. Leicester have stuck with him. He's turning it around. Obviously, West Ham are now in a situation that Leicester were a few weeks ago. Do you look at Rodgers as, I don't know, evidence that we could should stick by David Moyes?
No, not particularly. No, by the way, I'm not sitting there saying sack David Moyes. That's not what I'm saying. But no, I think they're different. I see Brendan Rodgers as a man with a real vision, and how he wants to play, a real footballing ethos. Whereas I see David Moyes as a manager who's caught between the devil and the deep blue sea. David Moyes is a manager speaking of changing the way we play. He's talking about evolution, going from a counter-attacking team that people have sussed out to a new expansive way of playing. So therefore, he's going to buy different types of players and playmakers and different types. This is not Brendan Rodgers. Brendan Rodgers has always been quite steadfast in the way he plays. He plays an attractive football. He's done it from when he was a Chelsea youth coach, Swansea, Liverpool. I can tell you I played at Celtic. I only assume he played the same way there. And now he's doing it at Leicester. No, this is a man with an ethos. So I wouldn't look at him and say, oh, there you go. Brendan Rodgers has turned it round. So David Moyes will. Brendan Rodgers has clarity of vision and tunnel vision in many respects, and he has the foresight and knows where he's going. I look at David Moyes and see a man chopping and changing and a very muddled way of thinking.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think Rodgers has a plan and he's working to that plan, whereas I don't really see that with Moyes. Like you said, Moyes speaks of it, but I don't really see it happening, kind of thing. And like I said, when I watched them this season, I thought they were quite unlucky in quite a lot of games. I don't really felt like that with West Ham. 1 or 2 games, certainly we've been unlucky, but generally speaking, the football's been horrendous and we've got what we've deserved, which is a defeat. No Maddison in the World Cup squad, apparently. Obviously, when people are watching this, the World Cup squad will be out. At the time of record, it's not out yet. However, the wide reports are, among the reliable reporters, are that James Maddison won't be in the England squad. Hypothetically, if that was true, what's your reaction?
Oh, I wouldn't. It's a shame for Maddison not to go, but I wouldn't take it personally. Any reflection on him? I think you've got 2 situations at play there. That's England do have a number of players in that position, and I think that one's on David Moyes. That speaks a lot.
You really don't like David Moyes today,
I've given away a lot there. That one's on Gareth Southgate more than James Maddison's ability. James Maddison is an excellent player, and I think England have got a safety first manager. So again, I almost called him the same thing. Southgate will consider that he probably has enough in Mason Mount, in Phil Foden and Jack Grealish to play that sort of role. And you've got to remember with Southgate's already probably reeling from the fact that he can't play two defensive midfielders. He's going to have to play that pesky lad from Borussia Dortmund who's going to want to attack as well. So he's probably already finding, so I don't honestly, would most other managers take Maddison? Yes. So Maddison's just going to have to enjoy his summer and try not to worry about it too much. But he's obviously a fantastic player.
I think it's ridiculous if he doesn't take him. He should be one of the first names on the team sheet. In terms of attacking midfielders for England, he's in unbelievable form. I think he was fantastic last season. This season, he's just as good. And he's capable of scoring something from nothing or creating something from nothing. His free kicks as well. I think it's bonkers that he would take it. I'm not surprised he's not taking him. I don't think you are either, hence your tone. But it's one of them. You just think, I don't know. What's for me to say being a Scotsman, but I do think Southgate is massively wasting the talent at his disposal in that England squad, and James Maddison being one of them, really. You could argue to build your attack around him. I think he's that bloody good. Speaking of players that are that good, anyone else you admire from Leicester City?
Well, we'll leave him alone. I mean, he's amazing. Everybody knows he is. I like their left-hand side, actually. I think Justin's nice and fast, really good pace on him. Harvey Barnes, really good. I like the way he joins the attack. I think it's really good. He's a real threat. A nice blend of skill traveling the ball, but also he'll deliver it early if he needs to. I like the way he moves after he's done his stuff. He'll pass and move, and always looking for opportunity. Looks to just very good movement off the ball and good with the ball as well. I was also impressed with the centre back. He's got some hair. He plays on
Bass.
Yeah. Yeah, he's good. I thought when I've seen him play, as I didn't know anything about him, never heard of him before. Probably seen 2 or 3 Leicester games in their entirety this season, aside from highlights and stuff. And thought, yeah, he's really good. And as you say, seem to be integrating Daka into the team, and sort of seen some nice combinations with him and Harvey Barnes as well, which would be good. So yeah, there's other players that I know Tielemans has scored some worldies, but it's funny, isn't it? We've spent the last few seasons praising their midfield, where they would have Ndidi there as the stopper, Tielemans as the playmaker, and Maddison as your little sort of jinky twisty dribbler. But yes, they can't do that badly. I've highlighted a completely different area of the team, which has been impressing me.
Yeah, Barnes is. I remember him scoring his first Leicester goal against West Ham when they recalled him from West Brom. I still remember it really, really well. I think Barnes is a terrific player. And like I said, I think he's the ultimate David Moyes player as well. Fast as somebody, I think he's been incredible. I'm like you, I've never heard of him, Gonzo. No. Never heard of him. And when they signed him, I thought, who's this guy? Is he going to replace Fofana? That's big shoes to fill. Bloody hell, he's been good. Every game I watch him, he's faultless. He's brave. He's decent on the ball. Doesn't mind stepping out of defence. Reads the game superbly. What a signing he has been. He's a real joy to watch to some extent as well. And they thumped Everton last week, and sort of Maddison got man of the match because he technically got 2 assists, although I think the first one, it's an assist, but it's not really an assist when they're Tielemans thighs it to the side and volleys in the top corner. It's a very generous assist, that one.
It's sure.
I thought Fast was by far the man of the match for me in that game. He was just faultless from start to finish, and we're going to have our hands full with him at the back. But the one player I'm going to pick out is Dewsbury Hall. I think every time I watch Leicester, he impresses. He's not like a flair player or anything like that. He's not really a match of the day player. But every time I watch him, he is just pivotal to the way they play. And actually, arguably, part of the reason Maddison's been shifted out onto the right a little bit, because Brendan Rodgers has often played like a 4-2-3 kind. One, he's now sort of reverted to like a 4-3-3 with Samari, the sitting midfielder, with Tielemans and Dewsbury Hall to the side of him and stuff. And I think he's brilliant. I think he's really possibly one of the most underappreciated players in the Premier League. And it's often a position that is often appreciated. Somebody that perhaps doesn't rack up the goals or assists, but defensively really sound, box-to-box midfielder. I think he ticks all the boxes, actually, Dewsbury Hall. I think he's a wonderful, wonderful player and almost like the glue of Leicester City whenever I watch them. I do think often if you take Maddison out, will Leicester struggle? Of course they will. But I do wonder, if you take Dewsbury Hall out, will Tielemans be as good? Will Harvey Barnes be as good? Well, Maddison, I'm not too sure, actually. I think he's quite important to that team. So anyway, enough about Leicester. Shall we do West Ham?
Unfortunately, yeah.
Team news, only Maxwell Cornet is absent. Apart from that, I think we've got pretty much a full quota of players to choose from. So David Moyes has got a lot of options, so many options that we'll only need one goalkeeper on the bench this week. And there'll also be a couple of senior players probably not even making the squad. Last week, Ben Johnson didn't make the squad, so there'll be at least one senior player left out on the bench this week, providing everybody is still fit. Now, before we get on to the teams we would like to see, we are currently running our 12 days of Christmas offers. Day one is today, and it's the player ratings book for free. You can grab yourself one of these for completely free. Link is in the description and the pinned comments of this video, as well as the code. Head over, add it to your basket, insert the code, it will become free. While you're watching this, stocks may have run out. We've got limited availability. But tomorrow at 8:30 in the morning, check out Gonzo's video because there will be a new offer, and there'll be a new offer every single day for the next 11 days. Offers are valid for 24 hours only. Right, Gonzo. This is going to be interesting. The team you wish to see face Leicester City on Saturday afternoon. Who do you like in goal?
Fabianski.
Yay! Flip-flopping!
To be fair, it took 11 goals to be scored past Areola for me to change him. There's a stubborn man for you.
So you want to see Fabianski in case we have a penalty shootout in a Premier League, which is impossible.
No, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I can't do nothing.
I mean,
that's a bad day at work, isn't it, for Areola? That's a bloody bad day at work. I think if I had a bad day at work that bad, well, some may argue I'm having a bad day at work today, but if I had one that bad, I think I'd want a day off.
I think I'd be sacking the goalkeeping coach. I'd be saying, who's responsible for doing the research of the penalty takers? Now, the problem is, when Blackburn field their second team, there's probably only 4 or 5 of them ever taken a penalty in their career, so it's probably pretty difficult. But that's the 4 or 5 that will be taking the penalties initially, so that's the ones you can be clued up on. After that, it's pot luck, with the Blackburn goalkeeper nowhere Bonner's going to be put in there or Aguero. It's incredibly unlikely. However,
I think we all knew where Bonner was going to put it. But
could they do enough research to know where Saeed Benrahma's going to hit it? Of course they can. He's got previous. He's taken him before. So anyway, Fabianski for me. I think he's having a good season. Probably going to be hammer of the year this rate due to the rest of them. You're back 4. I'm assuming you're playing back 4. Talk me through it.
No, back 3.
Ooh. What's your reasoning, sir?
David Moyes needs to drop players, needs to shock players. David Moyes needs to send a message to the team here. Before you change anything, you need to realise there's a problem, and in anything. Once you recognise the problem, you think, okay, I need to make adjustments here. David Moyes needs to know he's in trouble. Needs to understand the team's in trouble and he's in trouble, and with that, he needs to make some drastic action here to salvage West Ham's position and probably to salvage his job. Because regardless of what's being said and where, we lose this game and we spend basically six weeks in and around the relegation. So that's a lot of time for people to think about it and ponder situations. So I think he needs to do something drastic here, and he needs to change something for change's sake. So I think to get the people into the team that I want to get into the team, I'm changing formation here. And that's why I'm going with
your back 3 then.
Johnson, Agurd and Zuma.
Yeah, I've got back. No, actually, we'll do your team first then. I disagree with the back 3 for this one because I think it plays into Leicester City's hands, really. I think marking Harvey Barnes gets difficult playing this formation because he sticks out wide. So either you're going to drag Ben Johnson out there or whoever your right wing back is going to have to get back and mark him. Then I think that plays into James Justin's hands because he doesn't mind travelling forward with the ball. And on the other side of the pitch, you've got an issue with James Maddison in that formation because inviting Aguero to mark him. Really,
I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying, and I think herein lies the problem. We're already starting to mould our team from a defensive standpoint. How are we going to defend against Leicester?
Gonzo, I'll be honest with you. I'm crapping myself
for
at the
sure,
prospect of what we do defensively against this team.
Do you know what? No, you're right. Listen, we've just spent 10, 15 minutes praising Leicester. On that. However, I think one moment we start doing that, we revert back to type. We're going to sit back, we're going to soak it up, and we're going to.
I know that's why I don't want to see your team. That's why I want to see my team.
All right. Okay. Yeah. So, I mean, my team, just so as you know, going forward, you're going to look at it and think, hold on a second, you said Leicester was strong down the left-hand side and all, and look what you've done there and all the rest of it. And
God, who you got on the right wing back then?
I'm going to attack them. I mean, this is what, because I think David Moyes just needs to do it. You've got to attack Leicester. I want to attack Leicester. Not physically, obviously. They're very nice town.
Is it Pablo Fanals?
No, it's Harrison Ashby.
Oh, that's okay. I think that's fine. I think that's all right. Who's your left wing back then?
Oh, Cresswell.
Interesting. I don't think I've seen Cresswell play left wing back. I'm not too sure about it.
Well, not this season. Obviously.
I don't know if he's got the pace for it.
No, but he's got Zuma behind him and he's got some other players with pace. And, it's like you say, Johnson might pull out wide to help Ashby out there, there's someone who might pull out wide to help Cresswell, and stuff like that. So,
Right, I think I can guess the rest of your team near enough. Give me your midfield then. Downs and Rice.
Downs and Rice with Ben Rama in front. With Ben Rama in front of them. And Scamacca and Antonio up front.
No Paqueta.
No. I want everyone up to Premier League pace for this one, really. Particularly in that middle of the pitch and in that attacking stuff. It's just not settled yet. And this just now is not the time. Now is not the time. Let him go off to the World Cup and and hopefully show everybody how brilliant he is, and then we'll deal with that then. But if I have to think now, who's going to do best for us behind? Because I want to play a front two as Scamacca and Antonio. Who's going to do best? Who's more likely to have a performance? Paqueta or Ben Rama? Well, the answer's Ben Rama.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that question, to be fair. And I can kind of see where you're coming from, because when I did my team, I'd put in 10 players and I had one position left. Guess which one?
Was Paqueta's, obviously Paqueta's, yeah. What's your team?
Well, my back four, Soufal on the right. Again, offensively, not great, but Harvey Barnes worries me. And I don't trust Ben Johnson at the minute. I don't trust Tilo Kehrer defensively. So Soufal's in for the defensive purposes. Zuma and Aguero in the middle. Cresswell at left back. Rice and Downs in the middle. And Paqueta. And then I've got Ben Ram on the left. Scamacca up front. I don't really know who I want to see on the right, if I'm honest with you. I think Jai Bowen deserves to be dropped. I think Fanals is in decent form, but you can't really play on the right. Corey's absent. Antonio's not a winger. What are you meant to do? What are you meant to play on the right? I can't believe we spent 180 million.
This is it.
We've got holes in the team here. You're picking a formation so you don't have to pick a right winger, essentially, to some extent, because you want to see certain players drop. So you're picking a formation because of the players you want to see play, rather than a formation that you want to see used, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Well, it's supplied to Scamacca as well. That's also part of my thinking. I think both Ashby and Cresswell.
Well, that's why I think Paqueta is important, because we've seen the best of Scamacca when Paqueta's on the pitch. Yes, okay, the Crystal Palace, no, but I think that's a tactical thing. I think that's down to Moyes plucking the team with Souček and us playing it on the edge of our box for 90 minutes. I think that's the issue, because when Antonio come on the pitch, we didn't really see an improvement. Do you know who I would actually play on the right? Bugger it, I've decided. Lanzini. Yeah, get Lanzini on, because he's a neat and tidy player. We need Scamacca to get the ball into. We need to get the ball into Scamacca's feet a lot, and Lanzini's probably the most likely to do it, rather than anyone else. And like I said, he's playing all right recently. Is he a right winger? No. Is he? Hell, but when you're not in the first 11, you take whatever position you can get to some extent. This is your position for now. You do well. You can make it your own kind of thing. I mean, this is bad, Gonzo. It's a big game for us, and we're arguing about who's not out of form.
Yeah, it's a massive game for us. It's a massive game for us. It's well, look, Leicester It's us in trouble now, not Leicester. So, and they carry the form, they carry momentum.
I think it's a bigger game for. I think it's a bigger game for Moyes than West Ham. Even if we lose, I still think we'll stay up. Perhaps not with this manager though, but I still think if we were to get a new manager in, there's a good squad to work with. We might be in the bottom three, but only just. There's loads of the season left. It's easy to get West Ham out of this.
Oh, for sure.
With Moyes, I don't know if it's easy for him to get out of this if we lose on Saturday.
No, I think he's stuck. I feel like he's a cornered rat. Now, don't get me wrong. Can his tactics get a win here? Can his tactics that he's used? You could look at the Manchester United game and think, well, actually, no, his tactics probably could. He may well revert to type to get us out of that, and we can win. But the scenarios where we can win are far less than the scenarios where we can lose. Because Leicester get an early goal. Forget it. I say an early goal, and not even an early goal. The first goal. You might as well forget it, as I'm not sure there's enough motivation. I'm not sure there's enough effervescence and enough drive and enough creativity in the team to pull it back. There's a depression, there's a doom and gloom hanging around at the moment, and I think it's very hard to then turn that up and suddenly think, right, okay, everyone's going to get firing. We're going to now start attacking really well because actually, practice makes permanent, and we are practiced at sitting deep and defending. It's very hard to flick the switch and now say, right, we are now going to score goals freely. So I think it's a very, very difficult game.
When you were talking, we concede, we're done. I thought it came into my head. My head just said Leicester really good defensively in the last month or so. So I was just quickly checking the last 6 games. Guess how many clean sheets? Now include the League Cup game that they've just had midweek in this for clarity. So 5 Premier League games and a League Cup game, 6 games. How many clean sheets?
4.
5.
Yeah,
and the one game they conceded a goal, they lost 1-0 to Man City. So they've conceded 1 goal in the last 6 games, and that was against Manchester City. Even if we
you ask players I admire, I picked out 2 of their defenders. So yeah, I mean, I'm not massively. I like the right back as well, by the way. So just to point that out. So not surprised at all. This is going to be very, very, very tough.
Yeah.
So that's as quiet as you've ever been on a video for some time.
Because I feel embarrassed asking you, Gonzo. Because I know the answer anyway, but it's almost like a part of the preview. I asked this question. Sure. When we play the Sky Sports Top 6 away, I'll change it to "Are you optimistic?" But we're at home to Leicester. Like you said, we've faced Leicester enough. We need to be winning these games. If we want European football, we've got to win this. We've got to be aiming for to have a fantastic season. We need 4 points out of 6 against Leicester City, at worst 3. That's what we need. And against Aston Villa, against Brighton, Newcastle, that's got to be the aim. Those tough teams that are in the top 10, or you expect to be in top 10, you've got to be getting at least 3 points. And then against the promoted sides and the sides you expect to be fighting relegation, you've got to be aiming for a minimum of 4, ideally 6. So, I mean, I'll ask you, are you confident?
No, I'm fearful and I'm very concerned. And it's hard to take any confidence. It's hard to look for. It can't be confident because for me to imagine a win, and so we sit here and we predict it. I'm imagining things I've not seen yet. So I'm hoping the tide turns, and you can't be confident then because you need evidence. Evidence breeds confidence, doesn't it? I don't have any evidence at the moment. So I'm hopeful, but I'm also fearful as well. And I'm not resigned 100% to the loss. West Ham can win this. We can grind it out. I'm just struggling to see reasons how we can do it. I'm going to need to be surprised for it to happen.
I'm not confident at all. Not the slightest. All week, you know this, and I said on the pitch and videos, I've almost been grumpy all week because I feel like I'm going to be pissed off on Saturday evening. I'm genuinely annoyed at how I'm going to possibly feel on Saturday evening, and it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. I don't like having this feeling. I've tried to shake it. we've had good news on Hammers Chat recently, and even that's been sort of pissed on a little bit by the former West Ham getting put out by the Carabao Cup. And I'm not even, in regards to going out of the Carabao Cup, I'm not angry about that. But going out to a Blackburn reserve team, that I'm angry about. We'd beaten Crystal Palace and we went out last night. I could probably go, yeah, right, it's not ideal, but bigger picture here, we're doing okay. But we didn't beat Crystal Palace. Am I confident for this game? Do you know something? Forget Leicester City for just 1 second. We could be playing Nottingham Forest at home on Saturday. I would still say, no, I'm not confident. Yeah. Am I confident we're going to score 2 goals on Saturday? No, because that's what we're going to need to win, because I don't have confidence in a flipping clean sheet. So we need 2 goals to win the game. No, I'm not. I'm not even confident we're going to score 1. Then I'll take Leicester into the equation. 5 clean sheets out of the last 6. Barnes is in form. Maddison's in great form, who might have the right ump because of flipping waistcoat Moyes in the England job. He's probably going to leave Maddison out the England squad.
When is the squad announced?
Today.
Okay.
So we're recording this at 10:30 in the morning. By the time you're watching this, the England squad's out.
Oh,
so
right.
Maddison,
okay.
Before Saturday, Maddison will know if he's not in the England squad. If he's not, I mean, it could go one or two ways. He might be demotivated, but I don't think he will be. He's not expecting to be in the England squad, so he's going to have the right ump. He's going to prove it at the London Stadium. He's going to say, I'm going to show you, Maddison. I'm going to, do you know that Declan Rice that is an England squad? I'm going to flip and run circles around him for 90 minutes. Sure. There's your defensive midfielder. Here should have been your attacking midfielder. I am dreading Saturday, Gonzo. I'm not looking forward to it in the slightest. I've got no confidence whatsoever, because while we do the teams we want to see, this question relates to what you think Moyes is going to do. Souček, Fornals, that's what I'm expecting. I expect him to try and grind out. I expect him to try and grind out a 0-0. I do. I don't even think he's going to try and win the game. He's going to try and get a 0-0 and get out of there without losing. And yeah, I'm not looking forward to it. Any final words from yourself? Actually, before we do that, the boats on Saturday, we've got 2 book signings on the boats. We've got Cash Pennant and Bill Garner. They're both down on Saturday. They'll be signing books and selling their books from 1 p.m. If you intend to buy one or both, please bring cash with you. You can get it signed, get personalised as well. So Christmas coming up, possible perfect gift for a West Ham fan as well. Tickets are free. You can get them via the link in the description, but do get a ticket because we will be at full capacity. Instead, there's a cash bucket at the entrance with all donations going to the Iron Supporting Food Bank, which is run by a friend of the channel, John, who does a fantastic job, especially at this time of the year, helping support families who knew him. So far this season, the donations on the boats have allowed the Iron Supporting Food Banks to purchase foods worth £15,000 to help support families in the borough. So thank you to everybody that pops down. If you do pop down for a beer and a barbecue before the game, get your ticket, and like I said, bring a few quid for the bucket and get yourself a book as well while you're there. Gonzo,
a couple of people probably should bring a Sharpie as well, because that would be awkward, wouldn't it?
You probably get that taken off you at the search, though, so be prepared.
Bloody right you will, tell you.
You might get that banned at the London Stadium. Well, you might throw this at someone and it might hit them in the eye and blind them for life. But
This is true.
Can I get any final words from yourself, please?
Yeah, I'm sorry, everyone. It's but I'm feeling a bit miserable about the whole thing, and unfortunately, because well, I guess like laughter and joy, misery is also infectious, and as I say, the club are on a bit of a downer at the moment, and it feels that way. And it's the job. It's not just Moyes. It's coaching staff. It's the ownership. It's the job to try and lift the mood. It's everyone's job to try and lift the mood there. I will say this as well. The crowd, I had some things said about the crowd and whatnot. The crowd will not start that game booing. They will not. All right. Honestly, the bubble machine will be switched on. The crowd will all stand up with their arms in the air, and everyone will start singing "I'm Forever Blowing Bubbles." As the whistle is blown, the crowd, whatever, 50, 60,000 fans will all shout at the top of their voice, "Come on, you Irons!" No one starts this game from the crowd with bad intentions, right? But at that point, it's over to the team and it's over to David Moyes. We are starting halves, both start the game and the second half really, really slowly, and it is strangling us. We are honestly, it's absolutely debilitating what we're doing. And we cannot start like this. Again, David Moyes has to recognise it before he can fix it. And I don't know if he has come out in a press conference and said, we're starting slowly, I need to address it. If he hasn't, he needs to sort this out very, very quickly. We need to get on the front foot here. Because what he needs to do is he needs to stop sitting back and defending and soaking things up and making everybody nervous, then complaining about a crowd and stuff like that. He has the ability to turn that and make that a vibrant stadium. So tell you what, it's the last game for a while. Everyone's aware of it. And if we get there and we get an early goal, that place will be bouncing.
You say he starts slowly. I don't think he sees it like that. He thinks we start tight. It's the same thing, but it's a different phrase, which suggests a completely different attitude and stuff. And it's his tactics. He wants us to play like that. It's not the team; it's his tactics that do that.
Sure.
Antonio told us about 2 months ago now, while we were winning. Antonio told us this. So it wasn't like, oh, West Ham are bottom. We get told to keep it tight. No. We were doing okay at this point when Antonio told us these are the tactics from the manager. They're working. Well, I'm basically saying they're working. Well, they're not working now. I agree with what you're saying. It's up to them to sort of encourage the crowd. And if they perform, the crowd will respond. Yeah. It's as simple as that. I'm not confident. And what was your score prediction? Sorry.
I didn't give one. 3-1 Leicester, probably.
Yeah, I'm going to say 2-0 Leicester. Anyway, if you enjoyed this preview somehow, please do drop a like on it. Subscribe if you're new to Hammer's Chat. We'll be back tomorrow. Tomorrow, 8:30. Check out the forum channel. There's a new offer in our 12 days of Christmas. And then we'll be live on Saturday afternoon with a build-up show as well. Catch you then.